everyone, and welcome to Inloco MetaTalks. I'm Elsa, curator at Inloco Gallery, also known as Inloco Sharky, and I'll be your host today. MetaTalks is where we invite voices who shape the future of art and technology and ask them to share what drives their work. Each session is a chance to step into a different world of ideas, sometimes playful, sometimes radical, but always inspiring. And today we have a guest whose project lives exactly in that space between cinema and immersive technology. This is Ryan Hartsell. Let's meet Ryan. So a little bit about Ryan. Ryan is an Emmy award-winning immersive media artist. His work stretches from comedic VR projects raising cancer awareness and deeply empathetic stories about teenagers to full-dome audiovisual journeys like Resolution. His projects have been featured at SXSW, Raindance, and many other festivals, and they all share one thing. They use technology to spark emotion and connection. And I'm especially excited to welcome Ryan, not just for his achievements, but for the way he brings humor, empathy, and vision into immersive art. Ryan, thank you for joining us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here with everybody and share kind of my journey and thought process and ways that I've learned how to create content over the years. My background, I have an animation background. I was at a studio called Real Effects for a while. Worked on a movie called The Book of Life and several other projects with them as a motion designer. But outside of my day job, I was always making music videos, and I'm a filmmaker at heart. And they started to notice that. And early in the days of Oculus, when it was a Kickstarter campaign, Real Effects became one of the higher funders of the initial launch of Oculus. And my bosses came to me and said, "Hey, would you like to figure out how to do this for us?" So I said yes, and jumped into a new career to figure out how to create cinematic content in the VR space. So at the time, I was part of a handful of people that were essentially traveling the world and trying to figure out how to best create in this medium. This is basically just for the first couple of years of the early stages of VR, uh, there I was going around the world shooting all kinds of stuff, and the beginning stages of it, people wanted to do the things that they were afraid to do or didn't have a chance to do. So I had to jump out of an airplane. I had to be on the side of a racing catamaran. I've done top fuel drag racing, underwater shipwrecks, all kinds of wild stuff for a while until there was a piece that came out uh, by a filmmaker, Chris Milk, Clouds Over Cedra, and he actually coined VR as the empathy machine. So he found this is a very powerful medium for putting somebody in somebody else's shoes, which is the foundation of empathy. And there's been a lot of studies that have come from that, but there was a project that Oculus at the time incubated, which was the VR for Good series. And I was brought in early into that series, first as a consultant to help the filmmakers. Each year at the beginning stages of VR for Good, what they did was they selected 10 filmmakers from around the world and paired them with NGOs to do cause-based content. And the whole goal was to induce empathy in subjects to help raise awareness for causes. So I was involved in that, and after the first year, I was suggested to throw my name in the hat, and I was selected as a director. So I didn't get to choose the subject of what I was going to have to create for them. They paired me with Male Cancer Awareness Campaign and said that I had to make a film about testicular cancer. So I was like, how am I going to make a piece about testicles, essentially? And how was I going to do it in a way that, you know, was respectful and honest to the subject of testicular cancer and the people that go through it, but also get guys' attention? And the only way to get guys' attention on this subject was to use humor. So I ended up making a film called The Evolution of Testicles with Chris O'Dowd, and it was a hit at South by, and it went around. I got to go to the Late Late Show with James Corden about it, but it became coined one of the first laugh out loud VR experiences. This is part of what I was talking about. Just I'm throwing up some concepts, but empathy. If this is going to be, if VR is the empathy machine and I'm a creator, how can I induce empathy uh, through the audience? And I started to really kind of explore what is the root of empathy, and I came to the conclusion that empathy is directly correlated to your imagination or lack thereof. The stronger your imagination, the easier it is for you to put yourself into somebody else's shoes. So, how do we engage an audience to explore imagination? And the way that we do that effectively is that we trust the audience, and we let them explore instinctually without giving them explicit direction, like uh, you know leaving more questions than answers in your work, and the element of surprise. The more that you could surprise the audience, the more you allow them to wonder. The more they wonder, the more they think, the more they use their imagination skills. And I think that's a big component of my work going forward, is doing that, and allowing the audience to have liberty in my work and to let their minds explore in my work.
Yeah, that's a brilliant thought. We are still humans.
Yeah, yeah, it's really I don't think a lot of people really kind of like boil down where empathy comes from, but I think it's that a lot of people tend that don't have a whole lot of empathy tend not to understand other people's situations because they haven't really thought about it critically to put themselves there. So if we could help people strengthen their imagination skills, maybe they'll be more empathetic. So what you're seeing now is a picture of production from The Evolution of Testicles, uh, which is an interesting thing because we had the land speed record for the fastest flying testicle sack over the Bonneville Salt Flats, which is where all the land speed records are met. Uh, but it was a very interesting production. We were in Ireland, in Northern Ireland, England, Utah, Austin, Texas. Um, and it was during a time where, you know, there wasn't a whole lot of productions like this out there, but it's still available for people to watch on Meta TV. And if you want to play the trailer,
Wow, look at that view. Just take in a deep breath and appreciate this moment, because right now you're flying inside the biggest nutsack in the world.
Since the dawn of time, man's obsession with testicles is undeniable. Throughout the centuries, we've borne witness to the evolution of testicles.
So it was an interesting challenge to balance humor with a poignant emotional aspect to it. There's actually three survivors that I focus on in this who have lived to tell past going through testicular cancer, which is a young man's disease and not really talked about a whole lot. So, you know, the impact of putting content out there that actually can help others is something that really stuck with me. And going into the next stuff, the next phase of what I was creating, I put a lot of focus into efficacy of the media I create. And you want to go to the next slide, please?
Yeah, sorry to cut in. I think it's a perfect moment to bring this question in. Loud Silence asks, so it's not the animation, is it a movie?
So there is it's mostly live action, and I have a few scenes with some CG animation because obviously we don't have dinosaurs that I could have on set. So, but yeah, it was mostly shot live action.
So I think that's important just to understand how technically it works. 360 camera, this camera captures, if I understand, everything around. Like there are some videos on YouTube where you can press the buttons left or right or up or down, and you can change what part of picture you can see.
A 360 camera, like it sees everything, which means like all those shoots that I was on, I had to hide in plain sight, which meant like I was a crew member or I was in the airplane with a parachute on me, or it's an interesting way to shoot because there's no hiding. If you see the camera, it sees you. So you really have to be diligent on your placement and what you're doing. And it's an interesting process, but yeah. So the actor is Chris O'Dowd. He's been in a bunch of stuff. The Black Mirror episode was really great. And he's been an ambassador for the male cancer awareness campaign, which I ended up. I'm doing another piece with them right now that I just got back from Japan shooting. That'll be about Hiroshima.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Loud Silence, if you want, you can just Google 360 camera and you just find more examples how it works. Yeah, about this trailer and this movie, I just wanted to add that I can only imagine how difficult it is to balance humor and empathy here.
You could watch the movie on YouTube VR for free, and you can move the mouse around to kind of look around in the space, or use your phone with the accelerometer.
The same. Okay.
Yeah, that's available on YouTube.
Nice. Thank you.
After going through a lot of the cause-based type stuff, Oculus, I've been working on with them and helping them on a lot of the other filmmakers VR for Good projects and that kind of thing. And they wanted to see if I was interested in helping them direct and focus a series, a VR series about teenage mental health. So they reached out to me, and I pitched back to them an original concept they had called Weird Times, uh, where you go into the head of a teenager going through depression or anxiety, ADHD, body shame, different ailments of mental health that people go through, but using different animation styles as a way to articulate the emotions of what they're going through. It was an interesting process. I worked with a co-director first, Ruby Wong, who is an amazing concept artist, and she did all the original concept artist art for the first couple episodes of this, and then I ended up collaborating with Chloe Comby, who has a podcast on Apple called You Don't Know Me. She's an expert in Gen Z. So we brought in, people and writers who had gone through personal experiences with each of the subjects, so that we came with authenticity to each of these episodes. And if you want to go to the next, you could see the trailer for that.
I just wanted to check in and make sure everything is okay with you and that you don't start to fall too far behind.
Say something. Anna, you like girls. Yeah.
None of this would even be a thing if my family was just normal.
Now welcome our next contestant, Cassie! Cassie, how are you today?
I don't know.
Something funny?
No, sir.
It's gonna get worse for you.
Worse for you.
I feel bad for teenagers these days. Every day is like walking through a goddamn minefield.
How bad could it really be?
Show them to me. I need them. Push them up together.
What if something bad happens to you? People like you, they get bullied.
If this goes up, I'll be a meme forever.
You know what?
Whatever.
You're perfect to me. Thank you for telling me. It means a lot. I love you.
So I worked with several different artists, but I was also one of the main animators on this piece as I was directing it. But this is a series that is published through MetaQuest on the Meta TV app. There's 5 episodes, so if you have a MetaQuest headset, you can watch this series. Eventually, I'm planning on bringing this into the new realm that I'm creating in, which is the next thing I'll talk about. But just for a moment, so this was at South by Southwest, and it struck a group of people in the space of creating digital therapy, and I became good friends with a man called Ryan Douglas, who started a company called Deepwell, where they actually got FDA clearance for medicinalizing media. And, there's a board of neuroscientists, and there's been a lot of studies at Johns Hopkins and the NIH and a lot of places around the world where they've found that certain types of media, like games and experiential content, can actually have a positive mental health effect in the realms of anxiety and depression and ADHD. So I really was struck by that and started concepting and creating in a realm that could actually help people. The old adage, "You are what you eat." Well, that also applies to you are what you consume. As far as content goes, I mean, we've all seen how negatively social media and content can be towards us in society, but the converse is true. So as far as my mission and what I want to say to other people creating is that you have a lot of responsibility, and you have a lot of power to influence positive experiences for people that could actually help society. And that's really, you have the opportunity to do that, and it's real and it's backed by science.
Yeah,
And
that's fascinating. It can be compared to experience with psychologists, and you can live through some situations, and yeah, that's really fascinating.
yeah, they found that the more immersive the content is, the more it becomes a real experience. It's not just watching something. You're a part of it. It becomes a real memory. So there's a lot of power in that, and we need to be responsible about what we do in that space.
Does this experience have any age restrictions?
So not necessarily. I mean, they want to say that 13 and up as far as Weird Times goes, you know. Um, but it just
Mm-hmm.
some people are more advanced younger than others. Just the parental discretion is important. But yeah, this is
Mm-hmm.
meant for teens, and nothing that I could show in my series and my work is going to surprise somebody that's in high school or middle school at this moment, especially in the States. So you know, it's really up to
Yeah,
the individual.
yeah.
Yeah. But what's been interesting is
Mm-hmm.
uh, this has been this series has been effective not just in letting people feel seen, which is important. Like, oh yeah, that's what I feel like. That's what I go through, so that I'm not alone. That's a big part of it. But it's for the parents to understand what their kids are going through, or a classmate or somebody else that may not be experiencing what depression feels like,
Mm.
just so that they can understand. Oh wow, okay, this is how somebody else is feeling, and that you can't just switch it off.
Yeah,
You know, it's something that you can't
yeah,
really help, in a way. So that's a lot of it too.
yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's really interesting. I would like to. I used to teach children, and I'm just interested to watch it personal to me, and maybe find some cases that I haven't thought before, some situations that I haven't experienced myself. And generally, I think it's a good practice for parents, as you said, and teachers, and some, I don't know, specialists who work with children, teenagers, and just maybe for everybody who wants to be more empathetic to different people who experience different tough situations and tough emotions.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah. I see a thing in there. Who funds social projects? Okay, so at the time, I got a lot of the funding directly from Meta, but there's NGOs that help fund stuff. Funding is always the hardest part about a lot of this kind of thing. But if you believe in something,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
put a pitch,
sure.
put a pitch together and just start working at it and keep sharing it. And you never know, like at some point, you'll be able to find your funding for it. I know there's a lot of other countries that help support financing for developing this type of content. Um, some are friendlier than others with
Mm-hmm.
funding and allowance and stuff like that. But you just have to start connecting with people and start, you know, ideating and just start
Mm-hmm.
working towards your piece like it's going to happen. So That's the best advice I could give.
Wow. Yeah, that's really inspiring.
So this is just a quick slide I put together, just a few little anecdotes about the state of mental health. It's it costs the global economy $1 trillion every year, and the UN in 2023 said that mental health is a central issue, and it's going to be one of the main causes of mortality on the planet. So it's an important subject to address, and we all need to practice mental wellness within ourselves and taking care of yourself, and also start feeling weird. A lot of people don't realize that mental health affects you physically. Um, you know, the blood pressure, heart rate, induced panic attacks. So there's a lot of symptoms of mental health that people don't realize, but there's no shame in talking to somebody and getting help, because it helps everybody.
True. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, this example with their times shows that there is some impact, and uh, yeah, that's true. It can be taken seriously.
Going from the mental health space, especially after what I call the lost years, which was when we were all going through COVID, and it was just a weird time. Isolation became rampant, which to introverts is fine, but to a lot of people in different realms of extroversion, or in between, it exasperated a lot of mental health issues. Also, people started living deeper into social media, which can become toxic. So, one thing that I realized with a lot of the content I was doing, which is powerful in VR, it was a it's still a solitary experience, and not a lot of people have headsets. So how can I create immersive content that has that power, but for a wider audience? And I started to move. Like, I got involved in a project with a band called the Polyphonic Spree in creating a dome experience, and that just opened my realm of creation, because of the Sphere in Vegas. It's become ubiquitous in the concept of this type of media, which is a communal immersive experience. And that's something that's really intriguing to me. Not only does it bring people out of their isolation tanks and together, it's important when you experience something as a collective, you have a shared experience that bonds you. And that's something that I think we've lost as a tribal society, and as coming together as a group of people. So this has been a really interesting medium to pursue, and has been kind of the pathway to which I'm creating at the moment. So me and Scott Berman, who's a partner of mine, who brought me into the project, he started directing this project for the Polyphonic Spree, and he needed some technical guidance on how to do some of this stuff. So my name came up, and he brought me involved. And then I asked him, like, well, what are you doing on the animation side and all this? And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, well, I could help you with that. So I helped create templates and workflows for a lot of different artists. We worked with artists around the world to make this piece. It's the entire album of Salvage Enterprise by the Polyphonic Spree. But each of the songs are done by different artists in different styles, and it's been a really interesting project that we ended up taking to South by Southwest and winning the audience award this year. First time we brought a dome into the convention floor, and the the overwhelming response was just incredible. And we're right now we're self-distributing this film around the world right now to planetariums. So there's a whole new realm, a market of creating immersive content. And what's interesting with the Dome platform is that it's possible to take what I've done in VR and convert it for the Dome experience. It's also possible to create a VR experience that could work in the Dome. So there's different levels of immersion in different places that you could take it, not just in a headset.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight this point before we move, if you don't mind. So you've directed hundreds of VR shots, from concerts to social films, and from a director's perspective, what's the biggest difference between using this dome interface or 360 camera and a traditional camera? I mean, technically that's clear, but maybe what difficulties you've met doing this, or maybe some inner stories you could share about.
Yeah, so they all have their own challenges, but you know, as a traditional cinematographer, like in making like what are known as flatties, so traditional media, um, you can hide behind the camera. So that's one aspect of it that makes it easier. You could also cut. You have close up, you know, medium shot, all this kind of thing. When you jump into 360, you don't have any of that ability, uh, and you have to work with you know, extreme fisheye lenses, which makes things look smaller further away. It's a challenge to get things that are close up, but you have to think about it differently. Like when you're shooting a traditional, you know, flatty type camera, you have a lot more ability to shape where people are looking. But when you're doing a 360, you have to be more clever into getting people to look where you want them to look. Um, this is one thing that you know, it's more theatering around than sleight of hand. But motivating movement to direct the eye to where you want them to look using foreshortening and different techniques, you know, to instinctually guide the audience. I know in a lot of VR, people got a little lazy and put arrows, look over here, or you know, put in text and stuff like that. But I feel like that takes you out of the experience. So you have to be a little more thoughtful on your blocking and your action. When it comes to the dome stuff, you're dealing with a hemisphere and not a full sphere. So you cut your VR in half basically and use the top half of the sphere. So when you're shooting that way, it's a different way to think about it too. You can hide behind the camera in a sense, or below the camera because it doesn't see there. If you're using a fisheye lens, but you have to think of the lens of the fisheye as the dome itself. So almost you point it not necessarily 90 degrees up, but you have to tilt the lens to capture your point of interest in the bottom third of the circle. I don't know if that makes sense. You can't see my hands, but it's it's not just nothing's a one-to-one. And like you think of any of the mediums, think of why you're doing what you're doing and what you're doing. So in VR space, you're wanting in 360, you're wanting the viewer to look fully around and utilize 360. But when you're dealing with the dome experience, uh, most people aren't going to be in swivel chairs spinning around. So you use the space in a different way. It's more linear. It's more on rails, like say you're on a roller coaster versus you're in a swivel chair in 360. So there's a different way. Like I've been looking at retrofitting some of the content I've done in VR for the dome space, but you have to re-edit it to work in a more linear space versus motivating the person to look behind themselves. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it really reframes how we think about presence and perspective, and it shows how the tools themselves shape the storytelling. As we
Exactly.
can't do the same. Uh, like, yeah, it changes a lot the way.
Exactly. And you always, as a creator, need to put yourself in the audience's point of view. What is the user experience, and work from that.
True. But by the way, we have a few questions from Light and Loud Silence. Uh,
What do I
so,
think about the Apple Vision Pro? I think technologically it's amazing. It's just not priced for the mass audience. And they know that. It's very expensive, which is a gatekeeper. But I think that they're working on releasing a much less expensive one, but it's still going to be expensive. But just like a lot of Apple products, they push the technology and it gets cheaper and cheaper until, eventually I think, the less obtrusive the headsets can be, the more used and the cheaper they'll be, the more people will have them. I think like the Ray-Ban stuff they're doing, the Oculus, I think eventually VR is going to be, in the regular glasses with AR and a Switch hybrid with VR. Um, but, who knows down the future? I mean, we might end up having retinal implants. Hopefully, we don't have ads popping in our personal space. That could be a Black Mirror episode. I believe it is.
yeah, it depends on what you want. So, I think you partially answered Light's question, if I'm not mistaken. Funds such social projects, they're amazing, but how to monetize this type of projects?
It depends. So like a lot of the cause based type stuff, it's very difficult to monetize that because you know if I were to monetize some of that, then for all efficacy, I would need to be contributing to the NGOs and helping fund the cause that I'm seeking out to raise awareness for. So it just depends. Like, the stuff that I'm doing with the dome stuff, um, it's more entertainment based. So when we blur the lines and you come more on the entertainment side, then it's more ethically responsible to be able to charge for that type of content. That makes sense.
So, and one more question from Loud Silence. But does it make sense to make content for Vision Pro for now?
Yeah, just you just got to think about your audience, and like, and also, where your funding comes from. If Apple comes and said, "Hey, I want you to make something for the Vision Pro," then yeah, that's where you're going to make it. Um, we our dome film lives on the Apple Vision Pro, but it's not exclusive to the Apple Vision Pro. So you can make content that works for all the different devices at the same time, which is kind of the best way to go about it, and try to get published on all of the above, really. But sometimes you have exclusive contracts with, who's paying for the production. So it just depends.
Yeah, maybe the same with other platforms. Like, does it make sense to make content for TikTok or for Instagram or for some other new platform? Yeah, it depends what do you want, what is your, who is your audience. Karen Lyon wrote, there is a World Tour 360 video library in app Alcove, if I pronounce correct. Best thing is spot the camera guy who must have got to hide the world capturing these 360 video clips. Would love to track that title.
Yeah,
Sounds
there's always somebody that's making live action 360 content is always hiding in the shot. So they're always out there.
yeah.
I'm hiding in plain view in almost everything that I've done. So
Yeah. Oh, oops. Okay, I just, yeah, you asked to open this slide resolution.
yeah, yeah. That's just so this is just kind of a poster and like some of the response that we've gotten from it, which has been incredible. Uh, yeah, absolutely, Karen. So yeah, we're just still in the early phases of putting resolution out. We have residences in a few theaters, and we're just going to be all of a sudden we're going to be bringing it out to as many people as we can because it's been a really positive response from pretty much everybody that's seen it, which has been really cool. If you want to go to the next slide, I have a little trailer for resolution.
Swinging ladders on the ship, counting millions on the cliffs. Decide if calculations make the news exist. Find the wind, stretch the linens quick. Hold on through the galloping seas. Hold your head high in the storm. What you lost, it seems you left before. Hold on through the galloping seas. They'll come around, they'll come around. Hold your head high in the storm. What you lost, it seems you left before. The shyness runs away.
I just wanted to ask briefly. I'd like to unpack this idea a little more and to understand it technically, to make sure that I understand it technically. So, were this experience with so people were sitting in a kind of hall with the full dome ceiling, if I can say this, and they were wearing VR headsets or not?
No. So the beauty of the dome content is nobody has a
Mhm.
headset or anything. It's just
Mhm.
they're yeah,
Okay.
planetarium experience basically. Yeah, exactly. So the sphere in Vegas is actually a hemisphere inside of it, just like every planetarium. It's
Mhm.
just a lot larger. But yeah, there's a lot of there's over 2,000 planetariums around the planet, and most of them aren't really being utilized. So there's an opening for content creators to start changing the mindset of planetariums in these spaces to be used for more than just looking at stars. And there's a whole new realm that I think is coming out of the people in the immersive creation world.
Mhm.
Like I said, especially because the Sphere in Vegas, I believe they're building. Dubai might have something similar that is happening, and then I think Abu Dhabi they're building one as well. So it's starting to come around the planet, which is really cool. So Yeah, and like I said, there's not a whole lot of people making this type of content, so that's what intrigues me. I want to help with that. It
Mhm.
wasn't Pink Floyd. They did Dark Side of the Moon. They were one of the first bands to kind of do this type of deal. The band that you heard here is the Polyphonic Spree. Um, they're well known in a lot of different countries. They toured with David Bowie. They introduced the Beatles into the UK Hall of Fame, and they've been in a lot of movies and TV shows and that kind of thing. Really inspiring, uplifting type music. They're like a 20-piece band, so it's like a full orchestra mixed with rock. It's really cool.
Yes, sorry to jump in again. Just
Yeah,
make sure it's is it possible to have similar experience but in headset, like with the same visual and all the same,
yes,
but at home, like laying in bed or on floor or something.
absolutely. And so I've created a faux dome uh, that
Mhm.
you could see seats and all this. In Apple Vision Pro, you could watch this film in Sandwich VR platform, and they built a dome theater in there. So it's like you're sitting in the dome, which is really a cool way to see it as well. The only thing is it's not inhabited by actual humans, other than like eventually I think you're gonna have situations like we're in now, in this little setting where we could have avatars and we could share the experience together. I think I think there's going to be more of that happening for sure with the domes. Um, but yeah, it's just this was made specifically for the dome, so it's monoscopic and it's not really meant for VR, but we've created it in VR in a dome. So which is stereo, and it feels like you're actually at a dome.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, and it's like composing for collective body, not just an individual. And I really love this idea. And treating the dome itself almost as a character in the storytelling. And I just wanted to ask about this experience and your previous statement about uh, collective rituals. I've read some interviews, and you often compare immersive experiences to a campfire, place for collective ritual. And so, how do you see the future of these shared formats? Maybe like this experience with the resolution, like a dome experience, or how? Because yeah, we can go to the cinema together. We still do it, but most of us, I think, prefer to watch alone in their own homes. So, can cinema become a ritual again,
I hope
like
so. Yeah, I
shared
mean,
ritual?
it's like my partner over here, like he always mentions like, why do you go to a concert? You know,
Mhm.
it's the same reason. Like, you could go to a large concert and be in the back of the crowd and not really see the band, but what makes that an experience worth going to? And it's about being around that many other people collectively experiencing something together. Yeah, I feel like that's the same way in this realm. Also, just for wellness, the content that I'm creating here, like with resolution, it's positive and uplifting and hopeful, and I feel like that's something very valuable, not just for mental health, but just for society, especially right now. The world is pretty ugly in a lot of realms, and anything that kind of bring us out of that and to share positivity collectively, I think can be the same reason why people go to yoga once a week or any of this kind of thing. If the, hopefully like the dome realm could be like that, where it's like, okay, I'm going to go do my dome visual session on Fridays, or and integrate more of a social event space as part of your own wellness in your life.
Yeah, that's a good example with yoga. Personally, I do yoga at home, and I know people who prefer going physically, like to go to the gym, to have people around, etc. And yeah, maybe this dome experience or like combination of dome and VR could uh, somehow help people join together, even in VR.
The evolution of like all of this has led me to this point where through this project and through this like trajectory that I've been on, I've started a studio with Scott Berman. Is one of my best friends now, and like we're partners. And the whole point of what he was trying to do with the resolution was to create an album experience to where people experience an entire album in its entirety. Like we've become a society that's short attention span, and most of us have a jukebox in our pocket, and everything's on a playlist. Skip, 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 skip. Where it in the sense of like when a band or musician creates a body of work as an album, that's in their minds, and when they create it, it's intended to be a start to finish experience. There's storytelling that happens in the order of the songs in the album, and in how it makes you feel through an experience like this. So this is a Cinephonic is a studio that we created to bridge visuals cinema with audio from music together. And it's not audio, it's not music with visuals to it, and it's not visuals with audio to it. It's become its own thing. Together, they're more powerful. And this is a new way, I think, for people to digest music. So that's kind of the impetus for the studio that we've created. So we're planning on doing a lot more, and also we're working on creating pop-ups where we bring a dome and create an event space, which we could bring anywhere. So we're already talking to several cities right now, and a couple other countries outside of the U.S. as well. And hopefully we could bring what we're doing with everybody where you are, and we could all celebrate together.
So I think now that's space for questions. Thank you, Ryan. Now
Yeah.
we could talk a little more, if you don't mind, if we have time. So,
Yeah.
and guys, if you have questions, you can unmute yourself or write the question here in the chat. And I'll also check the YouTube. Maybe we have questions there. And yeah, while we are preparing them, I just wanted to start with the comparing early VR with nowadays industry standards. So you often describe early days as kind of Wild West. And looking at the industry today, do you feel that immersive projects now follow certain standards, or it's still mostly a field of experimentation? And more broadly, how would you describe the current state of the immersive industry?
So yeah, that's interesting. Well, we've learned a lot. We've learned what works, what doesn't work, what makes people sick, what doesn't. So there's a lot of techniques. There's a lot a lot better tools. There's a lot better cameras. But every project I've ever been on, I've had to do something I've never done before. And that's kind of the beauty of a lot of this stuff. This realm of immersive media, uh, it's always experimentation. It's always pushing the bounds. It's always trying to like take it to the next level. I don't think we'll ever be satiated in the realm of experience execution. I think it's always ever evolving. So in that sense, I don't think you'll ever get rid of some of the Wild West. Although uh, in the early days, it was a lot harder because there wasn't a whole lot of information out there. We had to figure it out on our own. Now there's a lot of information that you can go to. You could Google or AI search, or there's a lot of. I'm an open book as far as sharing. If anybody has questions, like I'm happy to answer. Um, I I want to encourage and uplift everybody to create, and if I could help share technical aspects or anything like that, I'm totally happy to do that. So I feel like a lot of the people in the community are pretty open to sharing and helping because it is a small knit group, and the better the medium does, the better it is for all of us. And when somebody creates a piece of work that I experience that's amazing and like that blows away what I've done, I'm happy because it's like, all right, there's the bar now. Let's keep moving forward. So um, yeah, I don't think we'll ever be at a point where we've figured
Yeah.
it all out.
Yeah, thank you. It's helpful to hear this from someone who's been inside the field since the very beginning. And I agree that's still evolving, and that's a really great time to try something, to start something. Because yeah, as to VR movies, it's much easier to start there than, for example, in a physical movie, because yeah, it's still very expensive. It's still very tough. You still should have a team, etc. But uh, it's how to say? It's just the field that's not so crowded yet, and you can take your seat and take your space there, and there are a lot to explore, a lot to evolve, and it's really fascinating field. Middle.
Yeah, what's really cool is like there's not a lot of fields where you get to be the first at a lot of different things. And this realm, you could be the first. You could be a pioneer, which is really
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah, that's true. We have a question from Loud Silence. Do you use AI in your work? And I just wanted to broaden it a little. Um we have a lot of new tools, except AI is generative sound, and yeah, some new pipelines, new applications, new programs. And I just wanted to ask you which of these actually help your creative practice today, and where do you deliberately hold back to protect the purity of cinema language?
Yeah, so there's a lot in AI that I think a lot of people are afraid of, but Pandora's box has been opened, and we need to look at this as a tool to, in a lot of ways, like the extremes of AI are really good and also really bad. But it's just being responsible and ethical. I use AI for quick ideation. If I want to like put together a pitch, a concept real quick, and instead of what I used to do when I was creative director at some companies, is I would go to Google, take a bunch of images from Google, throw deck together. Well, AI allows me to, get more accurate concept art in that realm and put together a pitch together. But in production, you still need people that can like go in and create specific things. AI, it's not like a press a button get a prize that works. Like there's still a lot of hand holding that has to happen to get what you want, and you're still gonna have to construct a lot together. Um, you could just do things on a smaller team, which is liberating in a way. I think a lot of the bigger studios are gonna have to kind of scale down, which a lot of the bigger studios are going to have to lay people off and that thing. But as far as like up and coming and starting, that's it. I came from a big studio that I just saw in a lot of the industry's mass exodus, which is a problem. But at the same time, now I'm working in a small team of like two that we have a bunch of people on our roster of different friends and artists that we collaborate with on projects and stuff like that. So it allows us to be able to compete on a high level with some tools that we use for like I said, ideation, or I use it for helping me with code or encoding FFmpeg, that kind of thing. A lot of the software that I use, like I'll need some scripting stuff. So like it just helps in a lot of realms. I'm more of a generalist, so it allows me a lot of flexibility to do a lot of things. Main AI that we're using right now is like Topaz for upscaling. A lot of the dome content, we're dealing with 8K by 8K resolution, and that's super taxing to work in natively. So sometimes it's been a helpful tool to take something that's 4K and turn it into 8K or 2K or whatnot. And like the Sphere in Vegas, that's 16K by 16K. And I don't know anybody that's got a machine that can work on that stuff. So a lot of their content is upscaled using AI. A lot of tedious tasks like rotoscoping is going to go by the wayside. A lot of that keying stuff out. There's a lot of use cases that I think are a net positive with AI. But using it to like, hey, computer, create for me and let me slap my name on it, that's a whole other different realm.
Yeah, cool. I like that balance. That's a great perspective. Technology as support, but not replacement. And just a quick bonus question for me about AI. Top 3 AI that you use?
Oh, I really like Google VO. I've been using a lot of VO3. It really does a great job. So I also use Midjourney. Midjourney is a great way to create concept art and for the ideation. What's interesting though is like I'll use Midjourney and then bring that still into VO to bring it to life. And what's cool about that is VO does a good job of keeping the integrity of, say, like a person or a thing. Like it'll continue that exact look. So you could create more of a seamless narrative structure in what you're doing with VO. Straight out of Midjourney, you're going to get some really good imagery, but it's not consistent. So kind of use one for one thing or one for the other. Topaz is the other AI program that I use regularly, and that's specifically for cleaning up video and upscaling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I adore Midjourney, but that's not really good with consistent characters.
Yeah, exactly.
I just prepared the last question. What advice would you give to creators who dream to bring their immersive projects to major festivals?
I would say start working on it, start making it, start collecting your ideas, and start ideating and start experimenting. There's a lot of tools that are free. Unreal is free, Blender is free. There's a lot of things out there that you could grab and just start making stuff and just start getting your feet wet. And then also engage yourself in the community. Say hi, connect with people, go to meetups. Your network of people that you know in the realm. That's how you get into a lot of places. And if you got a cool project that you've been incubating, and right people, they might be able to assist you in getting it done. So that's my advice. Just go for it. Say yes.
I absolutely agree. So that's just a reminder that big festivals are open for voices, not just tech. If you uh, if you try, if you do, if you create, then you will find the audience.
Yeah.
I think we are going to finish here, and huge thank you to Ryan Hartsell for opening new horizons with us today. Your insights into cinema and immersive storytelling truly gives us a lot to think about. And thank you to everyone who joined, who asked questions, and shared this space together. It's your presence that makes Inloco MetaTalks feel alive each time. And yeah, we had many questions and comments today in the chat. Thank you. Yeah, and before we wrap up completely, let's capture this moment. We have a tradition: make a group photo after each.
Thanks
Uh,
everybody, and feel free to reach out to me too if you ever have questions or anything.
Thank you.